want to make sure we respect everyone's time. We try to do our meetings on the lunch hour to make it easier for folks in the local business community to participate. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Colby Kirk. I'm the president for the Chamber of Commerce this year. I also work in economic development for the county. And in lieu of our traditional membership meetings, we've been trying to host some virtual speaker series via Zoom for the Chamber this year. We hope as much as anyone that we can get back to our traditional in-person meetings as soon as we can next year. Before we get started today, I do want to make some announcements just for the benefit of the Chamber. Our 2020 virtual gala took place last month on Thursday, October 29th. If you did not have a chance to watch that, you can see it on our Facebook page or on our website, which is harlancountychamber.com. I also want to share with you that the angel tree kicks off today. You can select an angel from the tree that's set up at the Harlan Walmart. Volunteers are asked to help purchase a fun item, an outfit, and either shoes or coat for their angel from the angel tree. And of course, additional items are also welcome. If you have any questions about the Harlan County Angel Tree, please reach out to them on their Facebook page. I also want to announce that the Chamber of Commerce and Harlan Tourism are sponsoring prizes for the best Christmas decorations in downtown Harlan this year. We're encouraging every business and residents to decorate for this holiday season. Prizes will be awarded for best religious display, the most lights, the Harlan County Christmas, and Christmas spirit. Winners will each receive a ribbon to put on their display and a cash prize of $100. To enter the decorating contest, send a picture of your business or resident decorations to the Chamber's Facebook page, and we'll put up an album where people can like to vote on their favorites. Last announcement I have before we get to our speaker, I want you guys to join us in welcoming some new members to the Chamber this month. The American Red Cross and Harlan Community TV are new members. If you're a visitor today and would like some more information related to joining the Harlan County Chamber, please feel free to reach out to myself or James Epperson, our director, and you can find information on membership on our website, which again is harlancountychamber.com. So with all that said, I want to get us into our guest speaker today. Today we are joined by Scott Surber. I hope I'm pronouncing that, Scott.
You are, that's correct.
Scott is currently the Broadband Technology Liaison at the Center for Rural Development in Somerset. He covers the center's 45 county territory, serving as the last mile community liaison of the KentuckyWired Eastern Kentucky I-Way fiber network. He works with city and county governments, area development districts, fiber boards, and other groups in an effort to see improved internet access throughout Eastern Kentucky. In September, the center announced a broadband speed testing initiative focused on Harlan County. The goal was for the test to provide the most comprehensive, accurate collection of actual broadband speeds ever conducted in Harlan County. Scott is the center's point of contact relating to this project, and he will speak with us today regarding this study and some of the preliminary data that has been gathered. So join me in welcoming Mr. Scott Surber for our speaker today.
Thank you, Colby. And you may have this inactivated on your end, but I'm unable to turn on my camera for some crazy reason, and that's absolutely fine. You probably don't want to see me anyway, but I'm not doing that because I don't want to be seen. It just won't activate on my end. So I'm not trying to hide behind a black screen. So there you go.
That's all right. I'll try to see if I can get it on for you on our end, but if not,
it's absolutely no big deal. I will tell you that I'm speaking to you today, not from the center. I am currently quarantined in my home, thanks to a positive test on my daughter. So my wife and I are having to enjoy the 14 days of quarantine together. So anyway, I'll get into discussing the Harlan County speed test and what's going on there and what it is and what it is not. I do want to say while I'm thinking about it, Allison Cross is on here as well. She is an employee at the center, and she's our community liaison and a youth programs coordinator for our Rogers Scholar, our Rogers Explorer, the Eli program, something I'm sure that a lot of you are familiar with. She does a great job and is working very hard as that program is getting ready to ramp up for recruiting again coming up. So if you have any questions about that, I certainly encourage you to reach out to Allison. There's some great scholarship opportunities there for students, and it's very selective process to go through to be a part of that. So I'll leave it at that and say certainly reach out to Allison if you have questions about that, and you'll be hearing more about that as she begins recruiting again for the next crop of students. But anyway, I've been asked to discuss the speed test initiative that happened in Harlan County. I want to say a word of thanks to Judge Mosley, to the mayors throughout Harlan County, to the chambers of commerce, the school systems, the tourism departments, to Erica Farmer Miller specifically, who helped me find a whole bunch of these contact folks to reach out to. I'm very appreciative of that and the effort that all these folks, and I probably left out the college, I probably left out a few, but the effort that all these folks helped us with in reaching out to these communities and encouraging everyone to take the speed test. We were looking for a specific number. We fell a little bit short of the bigger number they were looking for, but we did make we did exceed the minimum number we needed to make this an effective test. So we're very, very thankful to those folks. And again, from the judge through the rest of those folks that I mentioned, very much appreciate the effort that they made in getting the word out. First, just a little bit about what this test is not. What it is not an effort to identify a particular ISP that's problematic. We're not trying to pinpoint any particular company, group, or anything else in Harlan County that would be perceived as problematic. That's not the goal of what this speed test was for. Again, we're not trying to pinpoint companies. We're trying to more pinpoint areas. A little bit more of what it is or is trying to do. You kind of read it, Colby, when you said this. We wanted to provide an accurate picture of what the state of internet is throughout Harlan County. And what we'll see is some things we already know, but it helps put it into perspective and it gives us a realistic picture of what's going on in Harlan County. It's easy to say this because we already know it. There are some places in Harlan County that have excellent service. There are some places in Harlan County that have little to no broadband internet service. And that's what we're trying to help identify. We can pinpoint areas maybe down Cumberland, Benham, Lynch that 160 Main Street, and I'm not intimately familiar with Harlan County and those areas, but I obviously can look on a map and see. And as the speed test map began to populate, we were able to see that places like that are over in Loyal or Harlan, up and down 119 or 421, in some specific heavily populated areas. We can see that there's reasonable, if not very good, service in those areas. But as you get into the farther reaches of Harlan County, there's areas in the map that show absolutely no one that responded to this speed test, or that their service is so slow that it's almost inadequate to do anything. The goal of what we're trying to do here is, again, to provide that accurate picture of the state of broadband in Harlan County. And then also to couple that, many of you probably are familiar with Pine Mountain Industrial Development Authority. They are doing a feasibility study for their 5-county area, which includes Harlan County. And they were able to do that with a TAP grant through the Center for Rural Development, a grant that we offer to counties and ads and other such entities, cities, to be able to do these feasibility studies. When coupled with that feasibility study, along with this speed test, we're hoping to accomplish a couple of things. One, that accurate picture. Two, the beginning of a plan to move forward to advance broadband throughout Harlan County. And maybe the biggest overall goal in a speed test like this is there's some information out there through the FCC called the FCC 477 data. And what that is it's essentially a map that the FCC has that they put together based on information they receive as to where broadband is available and is not available throughout a particular county, city, specific block group or census block group for basically the entire nation. And obviously we're interested as the center in our 45 county region in Eastern Kentucky. And specifically today, we're interested in what's going on in Harlan County. What we want to be able to do with this kind of data is to be able to contradict the 477 data from the FCC. And why we want to do that is this. That data can say that in a particular census, you can get right down to the census block group and say, they will be able to say, because of what they've had reported to them, that this area is served by broadband internet. And all they need to be able to say that is they have one customer, a particular provider has one customer in that area. And when we're talking about a provider like that, without getting into particular details or throwing stones, we're talking about perhaps a larger provider that is able to say, because they've managed to get internet, the broadband internet, to even just one customer in that area, they're able to say that that area is served. And when they're able to say that area is served, what it does is that knocks that block group, census group, maybe even nearly an entire county out of being eligible for certain grants that would help populate, promote, and advance broadband throughout that particular area. And that's one of the main goals that we want to use this data for and see this data used for, is to help begin to offset that data and make grant opportunities available to where perhaps grant opportunities don't exist because of inaccurate data that's being reported. On top of that, by reporting, by a company or a provider reporting that data is available in a particular area, that may be completely true, but the facts of the matter is it may be a very slow connection and it may be at a very, very high cost. And so in this time, if this pandemic has done nothing else, what it has done, it has revealed in a lot of areas the lack of access that people have to good quality, high-speed broadband to be able to do homework, to access medicine and telehealth, whatever the case may be. And so it's things like this that we're looking to help promote in counties so they can begin to, go down the road of maybe securing grant money. And on top of that, working with, and I'm not going to name any particular company because I'll leave someone out or potentially offend someone, and I certainly don't want to do that. But there are some good quality local, we'll say, internet service providers right there in Harlan County that are doing a very good job that perhaps with some grant opportunities could do an even better job to help promote broadband internet throughout the area. Now, I can tell you that this initiative, Harlan County, a similar thing has been done in Scott County by the company that performed this particular service. Harlan County, we were offered the opportunity. Harlan County was the county that was chosen for various reasons, but chosen to be able to do this speed test on. There is the possibility, and I can't speak a lot to it, I can only just kind of give you a broad overview. There is the possibility that this speed test that was performed in Harlan County will be introduced statewide. Again, that's about as much as I can say on that. That information that I can give, I'm truly not capable of speaking on it past that point. But again, the overall reason for doing it is, one, to paint an accurate picture, and two, to begin to lay groundwork coupled with things like the feasibility study going on in Harlan County through Pine Mountain to be able to see broadband advanced in Eastern Kentucky and specifically Harlan County. And that's about all I've got, Colby. I'm certainly glad to take questions. I can't tell you that I can answer every question asked, but I can get an answer for you. And again, that's what I've got for you today. I appreciate you and the chamber giving me the opportunity to speak.
And we certainly appreciate you joining us to give us a little more insight into the backstory of this speed test. I'll open it up to other folks here if they would like to ask any questions. Feel free to type a question in the chat. I'd be happy to read that, or come off mute and ask a question. If not, I'll ask one, Scott.
Sure.
Will the results of this study be, will they be kind of publicly shared via the Center for
Yeah,
Rural Development, or?
yeah, and I should have addressed that at the beginning, and it's actually on a little note that I've written down here. But all we have right now still is just raw data, that information that came in as folks took speed tests. And I'll just say this: we were asked the question of a couple of times, and maybe more than that, from different folks about, well, I took a particular speed test and then took your speed test, and there was a difference in speeds, and that's not entirely unexpected. The company that is performing this speed test and collecting all this data for us routes their speed test through one specific data center. So the idea is that it puts everybody, if you will, that's taking the speed test on the same playing field, if you will, instead of routing through a particular data center that maybe their provider uses. It routes everything through one data center to try to provide level playing ground results in the end. But back to what you're saying, right now we're dealing with just raw data, and we're working with the company that helped us perform the speed test to be able to kind of put all that together in a package, if you will, that then it is something that we can share with folks and will be available. I don't have data at this point to share with you in that we're still working through all that, and the data that we have would be meaningless on a lot of levels. But that should be forthcoming. I can't give you a timeline, but it's certainly something I keep you apprised of.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. And one other question I kind of had top of mind was, will this data, we'll be able to use this in the future, I guess, for funding, maybe through the Center for Rural Development or other avenues that could help some of our existing providers expand into new parts of the county?
Absolutely, absolutely. Certainly, the Center for Rural Development, it doesn't play as big a role maybe in some of the funding we have, where it plays it will to some degree, and certainly be helpful. I don't want to say that it won't, Colby. Where it will be even more helpful is for some of those federal grants that are out there that very specifically say you are ineligible if. And one of the reasons may be you already have service in that area that is of this level and is available to everyone essentially. Well, that's true, except it isn't. Now I'm trying to find the best way to say that. It isn't being done, and that's the best way to say it. Yeah, it may be there, but there are perhaps whoever that provider isn't doing anything to advance that anywhere else in that particular census block, or maybe city, town, or maybe even the entire county. And what we're hoping to do is be able to make, especially local providers right there in Harlan County, be able to maybe tap into some of this grant money and use it to advance their infrastructure. That's what we hope to, one of the things we hope to see accomplished.
Good deal. Any other questions? Anyone want to come off mute or? We have a comment in the chat there, Scott. I don't know if you could see that from Jeff Phillips.
From Jeff Phillips, I'm looking at it. Just pulled my chat up for some reason. Did not have it pulled up. Yeah, and hey, that's a frustration we hear a lot. It's a frustration we hear a lot. Mr. Phillips, thank you for addressing that. I think again, I said before, the pandemic has revealed some things, and one of the things it's revealed, something we already knew, you folks especially, I'm over here in Pulaski County, you guys are there in Harlan County. We all, until about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, something like that, I had somewhere around 2 or 3 meg down, and less than that up for my internet service. And I have a little bit better than that now, but it made working from home impossible. A lot of our kids, it's impossible for them to do their homework from home because they have no internet access. It's one thing to be able to send a Chromebook home with a kid, But if they have no internet access to be able to get online, they've got to drive to the local McDonald's or anywhere else that maybe has set up a hotspot and providing it for them just to be able to, do homework. We hear those frustrations all the time. And one of my goals, and it's something I'm tasked with, is to be able to work with communities, city, county governments, as you said in the introduction, to work with those folks. And there's no fast process. If we are able to open up some of these census blocks to grant opportunities, that doesn't mean that tomorrow that the internet is going to be high speed and fantastic in the area. Man, it takes local internet service providers hanging wire, burying cable, or doing it wirelessly or whatever, and that doesn't happen overnight. That's a monumental task that is going to take some time. It's just that our patience has worn thin, especially through this pandemic.
Okay, I've had one more question sent privately from Emily with the Harlan Enterprise. She asked, what might the role of KentuckyWired play in the future of broadband in Harlan County?
So obviously, KentuckyWired is something that's been a hot topic that we've heard about for actually several years now. And what KentuckyWired has done is run, we'll call it an interstate highway for internet service throughout the state of Kentucky. And it's done in 6 rings, if you will. And off of that, they've branched out. The KentuckyWired side of it specifically will be connecting state government entities. There's another side to KentuckyWired called Open Fiber that is the, if you will, private commercial side of internet access, that their goal is to work with internet service providers, basically to sell them access to internet. But what folks need to understand is that KentuckyWired, if you will, is the interstate highway, and it's going to take local providers working to build on-ramps, is the best way that I've found to explain it, to build on-ramps to that highway and then roads off of those on-ramps, if you will, out into communities. And that's the best way to look for me at KentuckyWired, is what it serves. But what it also is a brand new way to access the internet. Everything's new. They've strung new cable. They have new equipment. So everything's new, and folks that are getting onto that hopefully will, as we're able to connect to that, hopefully we'll see a level of service that they haven't seen before. But again, it takes some time to get there.
Good deal. Any other questions?
Well, Kobe, thank you so much. If there's no other questions, I'll bow out and say thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to this group today. If you have any questions, Kobe can supply you with my contact information. I'm glad to try to help in any way I can. You'll see more information as we process through this raw data and begin to package it in a way that's palatable to be able to be seen and used by entities, folks, whatever the case may be. And again, I want to point out, Allison's on here with me today. Certainly, our youth programs are a big part of what goes on at the center, and we'd love to see the students in Harlan County take full advantage of that. A lot of great scholarship opportunities out there for them through her programs. So thanks.
Absolutely. And thank you again, Scott. We really appreciate you speaking with us and giving us a little insight into what this study was about. And we'll be sure to share anything we receive on this with the membership of the chamber. So that'll about do it for us today. I do have a couple of other closing announcements I'd like to make before we call it quits. I want to let you know that nominations for the chamber board will be taking place virtually over the next month. So if you're a member and you know someone who would like to be more involved on the board, helping with events or organizing speakers for meetings like this, we'd love to have you involved. Please feel free to reach out to myself or James, and we'll figure out how we can get you more in tune with what we're doing. And the last thing, I want to let you know that we will have another virtual membership meeting taking place in December. That will not be our regular date and time. We had to work around our speaker's schedule. So we will be meeting on Thursday, December 17th at 12 p.m. And our guest speaker will be State Representative Adam Bowling. He's going to be providing a legislative preview before session begins in January. So mark your calendars for that. We'll be sending out some stuff on social media and via emails before that. But I do want to thank all of you all again for joining with us today. We appreciate you tuning in, and we certainly appreciate you, Scott, for speaking with us. So with that, we will close out.
Thanks again, everyone.